maybe the most bizarre thing to ever happen on opening day, in my opinion, the Dwayne Rudd event. But
oh yeah,
no one expected it, and you can understand why they didn't expect it. They were cheering for it, they were hoping for it, but no one really expected it to happen. So it made it all the sweeter. And it was funny. Nobody wanted to leave that stadium when it was over. We stood around there for 10, 15 minutes just soaking it in. It was great, and I'm not sure if the cameras were showing it, but I'm sure you probably saw the Alex Mack version of the Lambeau
crowd.
Leap down in the dog pound, and that was great to see because there's always been some question about how bad Mack wanted to be here this year.
Yeah.
But that was great to see, and the players all around, Kirksey and Dansby, who obviously the MVP of the game, these guys took some time after the game was over to come down, to mingle with the fans, to slap high fives with the front row, and just soak it in. And the fans were doing the same thing, Jerry. It was just something like we haven't seen in 15 years. We've had some big wins when they beat the Steelers a few years ago on the Thursday night on a cold night. Sack Roethlisberger 8 times. I don't know, but there's been a few good wins down there, but nothing quite like this. And you just you hope against hope that it's the start of a good thing. And frankly, when you look at the schedule, the next 6 games, we're not talking about world beaters. We got a tough one this week, but the next three home games: Ravens, Steelers, Ravens, Steelers, and then Raiders and Bucks.
Right.
Road games against the Jags and the Titans. I mean, we're
Titans,
not talking about the cream of the crop in the NFL, and they really have a chance to put some distance between them and 500, I think, if they can keep playing well at home.
No, I agree with you. It starts there. I mean, here's the thing. Even week 1, we all and you have a certain way that you talk Cleveland sports. You go, well, we don't know at the second half what it was, and maybe they just let the foot off the gas and we made the comeback, and then at the end they fell short. They always fall short. Well, maybe they can learn from this, and we always say there's learning, there's things you can take out of that, but it's not very often. And as you said, they've won games. We're not talking about a team that's been 0-100. They win 3 or 4 every year. But this script plays out all the time, and they don't ever win these games. Ever. They did it how many times last year? How many times the year before? How many times this year already? Once in one game. Second half, they could not. At the end of the day, what will people tell you? Not that they scored 20-some-odd points in a row, that on the last drive, they went 3 and out, punted the ball, Pittsburgh came down and won the game because that's what good teams do. They make plays at the end of the game. They're in the same situation a week later against another good team with a veteran quarterback and a veteran coach that's been there and done that, and they made that one extra for something different. That is different.
Yeah, you're right, and it goes down to the 2 things: the Dansby sack.
Dansby sack was the play of the game.
That ended the drive.
That's
you
it.
Just gotta love. You just gotta love this guy. That and the fact that Hoyer, not once but twice, came back with his team down a point and drove them the length of the field
with
to
fourth
get
down
the go-ahead
conversions.
score.
Fourth down conversions and third down conversions, but Dansby sack before we even go into Hoyer. That's it, because without that, you've got the ball on the 20-yard line or whatever with 8 seconds to go, and well, most likely you got to use that same timeout. And so you have one shot at the end zone to win the game or lose the game, and that's a totally different ending than kicking a field goal to end the game.
Yeah, no doubt. That would have been pretty much a chip shot field goal for him, and then you need 7 points to win it. And it's just hard
to
say what would have happened. But
not just the drive.
And Dansby, I don't think it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one play by Dansby. That guy played a football game from start to finish.
He's got a motor.
He's got a motor, man. And I mean, he was impressive from the opening bell. Making plays and exhorting his teammates and exhorting the crowd to scream and yell. After a couple games, I mean, last week he had a good game, not a great game. I think he played just an outstanding game yesterday and was a defensive MVP. I don't think there's any doubt.
No, I'm with you. And again, that's the game changer there. Without that, maybe Hoyer doesn't get the opportunity. I mean, again, and the defense in general from that beginning, you were there. many times you got the manufactured excitement at the start of a Browns game because people are half in the bag from the parking lot. They're not necessarily expecting a good result from the game. Maybe they're hopeful, but we know what things have been like for a long time here, and you get the music excitement at the beginning of the game and it's kickoff, but then it's like that's it. It's all canned from there. And even when you think you're there all the time, even when the Browns are on the verge of winning, I think you can say, my sister was there yesterday and I heard from some people that there was a difference in the way that, because you're finally in the first quarter, we're getting some actual like it felt like you were cheering and they were reacting and playing better. So you cheered louder and harder, and all of a sudden that was a raucous atmosphere. That's why Drew Brees was having trouble, not just because of the defense, but because that place was absolutely electric for most of the first quarter.
Yeah, you're right. It was, and it really, they took to their credit, the Saints took their crowd out of the fourth quarters
for sure.
But then when it was crunch time and they were moving the ball, the crowd got right back in, and you didn't see, 20,000 people dressed up as orange chairs, by late in the game. People stayed till the very end, and nobody was really leaving that place, even when they fell behind. So yeah, all those things were encouraging, and the crowd was into it from the start. And because you're there all the time, I'm there all the time. I can't really tell, and I don't go to other NFL stadiums that much. But players say that it's one of the loudest stadiums in the league, and I don't know how they designed it acoustically or whatever, and maybe now that it's a little bit more closed in too, instead of the open corners,
well, that's
it
what
might
they
even
did,
be louder.
yeah.
But it seemed louder yesterday to me, and the players say that it's very loud.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that is part of it. The way they closed it up there and brought those other seats in and stuff, that was to lower the actual crowd down closer to the field in some parts there and add more noise down at the field level. So there is an actual reason why it sounded louder on top of it actually being even more exciting than usual, So and that was big because, as we said, even though you said it, they got big into it, you're not going to stop Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham. You know what I mean? You're not going to stop those guys from going. It is concerning to me that we're making Ingram look like he's back in college all of a sudden again, and he had his best day as a pro. Although talking about those injuries earlier, he banged his hand up. He's out for at least the next 4 weeks, I'm hearing, coming out of that game. So that's going to hurt the Saints going forward. They're losing their number one back. But, just a good, you were there, man, a good football game. And let me ask you, you've probably heard the conversations about bringing Manziel in and all of that. And I know, I can hear the crowd, and I know that, there was the one time when Hoyer was slow to get up and you could hear a little bit of the buzz through the TV, so it was there in person. And then I'm sure there was the Manziel stuff with those couple of snaps, although, nothing really happened of it. But coming out, you say guys stuck around, leaving that stadium. What was that overall? Because, you're usually taking the walk of shame out of there, and guys are mumbling and grumbling and talking as they're walking. And I got to say that I think for now, I don't care if you bought a number 2 jersey from Johnny himself for $5,000 and he hand autographed it right in front of you. I'm pretty sure I think that thing is going to stop for a while after yesterday.
Yeah, and we talked back in May after the draft that the only thing that was going to quiet the national media frenzy and the local media frenzy was 8 games of Johnny with a baseball cap and a clipboard on the sidelines. And,
not just that, but Hoyer.
It's still the hope that that's the case. But most people were puzzled. Not unlike Hoyer, maybe a little bit ticked off that he was even in there in the first place, because it's not like the game had tilted one way or the other, lopsided, and it was obviously still a competitive contest, and nobody could figure out why he came in. And then to have him in there, presumably just strictly as a decoy, because he handed the ball off both times. It looked like the one pass he threw may have been a broken play.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And so basically he came in there to essentially not take advantage of the talents that he supposedly possesses. And maybe you could say they overthought it. That, well, we bring Johnny in, they must figure that there's some play called for Johnny and that he's going to be the key, and we're going to decoy and hand it to Crowell or hand it to West or whatever. So they might have just overthought it a little bit, but most people were just puzzled by it, and it was a passing thing, and okay, no big deal. Now he's coming back out, and like you said earlier, talking to John, bringing Hoyer back in on 3rd and 13. Yeah, thanks a lot, Johnny, for helping us out there.
But he completed it.
People were really just more scratching their heads, and I think most of us were just okay. They said they might do that, and we heard that they might put him in at some point in time, so they've done it. So let's move on. It was a non-event, really, especially the way it turned out when they were just decoying with him.
You know what? I'll tell you what. Talking about all of us sitting there, and we've done this before at the end of the game. Do you know when I looked and turned and said the Browns can win this game here? This is legit. It was at the 2-minute warning when the camera, and I don't know if you saw it in the stadium, I'm sure you've seen it in the replays afterwards, they go to cut back. I can't remember if they were going to or coming back from a commercial, but they caught Peyton and Ryan arguing with each other on the sideline, and I'm talking about like yelling at each other. Like, it looked like there was a little bit of a, hey, you let me do my job. I think I even saw that come out of Rob Ryan's mouth, like, you do your job and I'll do mine. And I kind of saw, well, you're not doing your job very well, coming back from the other side. And there was a little tit for tat there on the sideline, and I'm like, bro, 2 minutes left in the game. If I'm the Browns and I'm seeing this, I'm going on the sideline and going, guys, we can attack this defense. You got the coach and the defensive coordinator arguing with each other at the key moments of the game. And I think that's an underrated thing to talk about on what went wrong, because the Browns clearly were able to attack that defense. There was some problems on the other side.
Yeah, and I did not see that live at the stadium. I don't think they showed it on the scoreboard. I did catch it on the TV feed, and I came home last night and watched the game over again. But yeah, certainly, and I wondered if the men Ryan about that after the game. I didn't see anything about that, but yeah, that was a nasty little moment that I'm sure they're unhappy where cameras were on to them while they were. But yeah, game in that last drive, Miles Austin, I was as ticked as anyone when that ball went through his hands on 3rd and 4 or whatever. And
that was him.
But
that was him.
He made a couple of big catches down the stretch, and not least the 3rd and long one maybe it was the first down play, actually, the one that set him up at the 38-yard line right before the final big completion to Hawkins. That and the 3rd and 1 where he had a guy draped all over him and held onto the ball for a big first down at that point. So maybe he's the only guy with any size at all in that receiving corps, so maybe he's going to turn into possession man on 3rd and short, and if he can continue to make plays like that, nice catches in crunch time, we can forgive him a drop earlier in the game.
Absolutely. And I've just pulled up Sean Payton's press conference here. Charles is beating me to it. I was going to say I just pulled up his quotes from yesterday, and they asked him if it was normal to have such animated discussions with his assistant coaches during the games, and he said completely normal, happens every game. So there you go. He quickly bluffed it off. But if that's the case, then there may not be the most functional relationship there. And hey, we're not ones that are bastions of functionality between our coaching staff here in Cleveland either. So I'm not, you guys do what you got to do over there in New Orleans, but definitely not the time. To me, 2 minutes left in the game, we need to be on the same page, not on different pages at that point. So Sean Payton can say that's normal all he wants, but no, it's not. And I think you and I know better than that.
Yeah, I think that's true. That's a little bit of rewriting history there and making it seem like this is something they do all the time. I don't think they do, and maybe they do it behind closed doors. Who knows? Obviously, Ryan has had his a lot of stickers on that guy's suitcase around the NFL. I'm sure the kind of personality that he is, you'd expect that maybe that kind of thing goes on a lot with him in coaches' rooms, but probably not on the sideline a whole lot, and they can't be happy about that.
I was never big on him except as a head coach. I said, man, I don't like this guy on defense. I think he lives off the family name. I'm not a big fan. Yeah, he could throw a lot of big blitzes that get burned. Like, that's what he did a lot in Cleveland. A lot of bend but don't break. anytime he did get a blitz, it was because he sent 7 guys and left the back end wide open, and he would get burned on a 60-yard play to a wide open guy you usually never heard of.